Aha, good evening. Excitement, excitement. I am so looking forward to this. And it is Sewalong number 3. As per usual in a group, I don't see any comments. That's why I've got my phone here and I shall have that in front of me whilst we are doing the Sewalong. So I hope you're all well. Hi Linda. And I thought for first 2 or 3 minutes, I'll just see who's coming along. We have got 81 people, although from the emails, it looks as though I've got about 85. So possibly some of you have got more than one email that you've sent through that I've responded to, but never mind. Hello, Jill and John, or just Jill tonight probably. Hello, Yvonne. Hello, Dorothy, Liz, Elaine, Patricia, Bridget, all prepped up, are we? Lovely. And hello, Gita and Sharon. Wonderful. Hello, Leslie. Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to have prepared anything. You can just watch or you can sew along with me. So, hello, Susan. Hello, Amanda. That's fine. Absolutely fine. Now, what I will say, there's quite a few of you here now, and I will say again, oh, John's listening too. Oh, fabulous. Hello, Christine. Hello, Judith. Hello, Kim. Susan, if I said that, and Amanda. And another Susan. What I will say is, if you look in the group, at the top, there is media. And if you click on media, there will be photos and videos. So then if you click on video, if you didn't watch this morning's live, just to explain everything, it's in there. It doesn't come in the normal feed, the timeline. So have a look always in where it says media, because it is a video and it will be there. So, okay, Gita, that is absolutely fine. And hello, Kathleen. Hello, Alison. Hello, Susan. I mean, to be quite honest, it probably is better if you just watch. Hello, Karen. Absolutely fine. I feel that you will know the first part of this very, very well. Hello, Marion. So you will know exactly what to do. And the whole idea of doing tonight is so that it saves time on Sunday. So I'm going to show you the 2 ways of making. Oh, I'll keep that on there. We have comments on here. Sandra, you're the first one. And Shirley, lovely. So what, after I've done one of each tonight, as you know, there's 2 ways. There's using 1 piece of fabric with the lining and the wadding, of course, or using 2 pieces. The 1 piece is going to give you a smaller. So let me see, where have I got my, typical. I've got my two different ones. In fact, I've got them down. Oh, I have it here. Let me just grab those from there. Right, so this one is the smaller version. This one is the bigger version. So this one takes 1 piece of fabric, which is what I'm going to show you first of all. Hello, Carolyn. And this one is the 2 pieces of fabric. So 2 pieces of outer, 2 pieces of lining, and 2 pieces of wadding. 1 zip in each. The zips are all long enough to do whichever way, whichever size you're going to do. Hello, Sue. For those of you with kits, you can be frugal and make yourself 10. You will have to provide another 5 zips because there's 5 to make the 5 projects, but you'll have enough wadding, a lining and outer fabric to make 10 of the small one. And so I'm going to show you the first stage so that you will need, if you're going to sew along on Sunday. Oh, Mary, oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I knew there was somebody that told me you were in Florida, so I'm so glad that you're okay. Lovely. So what I would like you to do after tonight's session, anytime tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday morning, if you're sewing along with me on Sunday at 2, hello Wendy, I would like you to have 5 of what I'm going to show you ready. Purely because if we were going to go through the whole project right from scratch each time, we're going over the same same technique, if you like, at the beginning of everything, and it would take probably 5 hours plus. So by having them all at this certain stage, you'll have them all ready to then be able to make this one, to make this one, and to make this one, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and here's my other one. So it looks similar, but it's got a lovely V in there as opposed to just the basic straight line across. So same size, there we are, but you've got a straight line, or you've got those lovely triangles in there as well. So what I'm going to do, we've got half of the people. Now, I know some won't be watching tonight anyway, but I think we will begin. Now, what I would say, the other instructions, which I will email to you, but it won't be until late on, because to be quite honest, I prefer you to watch the demonstration and have the PDF as a backup after you've seen what goes on, to then make your own from that. So you'll have the video and you'll have the PDF instructions at the same time. So I will do the same thing. So all those emails, hello Rhonda, all those emails that came in, thank you very much. I will send an attachment with those emails again. As I say, I'll probably do that late on Saturday. So I'm going to make the first one. So I have got my lining piece, I've got my outer, and I have already fused my fusible fleece. You're here, so lovely. The fusible fleece I've already fused to the back of my outer fabric. Hello Tony. So I have the zip, and I will say the only difference between the two to start off with is that with the smaller one you're going to work with the short edge. So there is my zip for the short edge, whereas on my big one, I'm not going to do any more than just show you this. Where has my zip gone? There it is. We are working on the long edge. So as you see, both pieces of fabric are exactly the same size. As I bring that one down, so whether you're doing big or small, both exactly the same size, but the small one is worked, the zip will go along the short edge. On the big one, it goes along the long edge. Okay, are we happy with that? They're all 10 by 7, Gita. Every piece is 10 inch by 7 inches. So as simple as that. 10 inch by 7 on the outer fabric, on the lining fabric and the wadding. No more than that. You have got a width, or no, half a width of fabric, which is for the little handles. So for the handle, and I haven't got one here, but there's some tabs. So please don't cut that yet, because you won't know what you're cutting it for, because it is sort of touch and go. You didn't need a whole width, but a half width will suffice. Oh, and this top bit as well. So there's a bit for the top. All you will need, on Sunday, I shall be neatening the seams with a zigzag stitch. I will show you how to just put binding on if you would prefer to do binding, but I won't be doing binding on all of them on Tuesday. So if you are going to do that, a little bit of bias binding to go with your lining fabric, or contrast, or a strip of a width of fabric. You need 2, I think you'll need, for doing all of them being bound seams, and that will be 1.5 inches wide, but that's the only things that are a little bit different. Okay, no, you're not supposed to have anything done yet, so absolutely fine. And as I said, perhaps, I don't know if anybody is going to sew along, but it may be better that you just watch and then make them afterwards. So as I said before, you will need 5 sets of these, of whichever size you want to do them. Whether you want to have some small and some large, yeah, no worries, Sue, is entirely up to you. So let's dip down. I'll just move those ones out of the way. That goes there. I'll put my phone here. Okay, hello Sally. Whoops, I'm just typical. Right, just go in there so that I can see. Oh my goodness. Right. How have I got somebody in here? Let me just see. Report comments. Oh, I've got nobody to block Sarah's profile. Yep. Block. Sorry, I've got an intruder here. Let me see. I want to be able to. Let me see. Nope. How on earth is anybody able, if you're watching, is anybody able, I think Judith is on here, I don't know if Barbara is, to delete a comment from Sarah Bullstat, because we really don't need that at all. Or am I looking on the wrong thing? Oh, perhaps I was looking on the wrong thing. It seemed to come up on mine. I was looking at the wrong one and I've reported it. Oh well. Okay, that's okay. Right, no wonder I couldn't, there we go. Right, so I can see the comments here. You have the laptop on your phone and they're not syncing. Oh, that can happen quite often. So let us pop the camera down and we will get going. Okay, so I think we're on there. No, Bridget, I think, thank you. You can't see a comment, not in this feed. I think I accidentally flicked onto somebody else's feed and saw it and I thought, what on earth? It was talking about beads and gems and whatever. No, I'm a little bit, panicky about having, I should be able to delete those comments as it's my group, so I wasn't able to. So, yes, no. How strange. I think I went to scroll up and it scrolled to somebody else's video, because a lot of people are doing Facebook Lives these days due to the create and craft scenario. But never mind, we're okay. So, as I say, for those of you who are coming on after I've started, this video will be in media at the top, which if you click, it's at the top of the page, media, and if you click on that, breathe. Yes, Gita, exactly. Click on that and you'll see videos, and in videos there will be, I think you'll see just, I don't think it's headed up anything, but the video will be there. Deep breath and we shall begin. Right, so what we're going to do first of all, we've got our 3 pieces of fabric. We've got our outer with the wadding on the back, and we've got our lining piece as well. And as you saw, I'm going to be using my fabric, and we are working with the zip on the short edge, the 7-inch edge. So we're going to take that away for a moment, the lining. With our main fabric, outer fabric, I'm going to put the zip face down, or zipper pull down. So there's my zipper pull. That's going face down, and I am actually going to use some binding clips. I am loving these at the moment. So I'm just putting it there to anchor for the time being. And the zips will be a little bit longer. So if you have a little bit of excess coming over this side and at the zip pull side, I should perhaps move it over a little bit more so that the zip pull is nowhere near. It just makes it easier when I'm starting, because the foot won't hit it at all. Oh, right. It was in photos. Right. Well, on mine, it was in media. So wherever, as long as you can find it, that is absolutely great. So I have put outer fabric first, facing up, zip with zipper pull facing down along the short edge, and then I'm going to take the lining fabric and I'm going to put that face down, right side down, onto the outer fabric and align it with this edge, the long edge, and the zip tape edge as well. So because I've got my tab on there, I can just take it off my clip and pop it back on. I'll pop it back on down here, but as you know me, I will take it off before I get down to the bottom here. So I'm going to bring that in just a little bit closer. That's better. So I am going to use between a 2 and a 2.5 inch 2.5 stitch length, because I don't want it too long, but I don't need it to be extremely short. So pop your zipper foot on if you're used to using it. If you like to use your standard foot and alter the width, the zigzag setting, although you're not doing a zigzag, to 5.5, it will give you no, I lie, that's a 1/4 inch seam allowance. What you can do with your standard foot is move your needle to the left, and then you can run the outside of your foot along the zip coil, or right next to the zip coil. Now my foot happens to be about a 1/4 inch wide, so I just run the left hand edge of my foot along where the zip coil is. Now that looks a lot closer on my pad than it does on the phone. Anyhow, so I've got that lined up nicely, and I'm just going to start stitching along here. So it actually works that the right hand side of my foot lines up with the other edge, the raw edge there. So we will just stitch along here. Now what you will, or you may find, which I have, I can see that that top, the lining, is just shifting a little bit so that it's a little bit wider. It comes a bit, but we can trim that away. It isn't a problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is open this out, and I'm going to tuck the lining underneath my outer fabric, so underneath there, and pull the zip away from it. So what we have here is the outer on top with the wadding, the lining underneath, and my zip here. And then I'm going to top stitch along on the outer fabric, but along the zip edge. So I like to turn it whichever way you like, so that we're doing the top stitching here. And so you can either press this away so that the fabrics are away from the zip tape, but I like to just pull this down so I don't have to keep dragging the iron in at this stage. I'm just pulling the fabric, the lining fabric underneath here, pulling it down so that it's pulled away from this zip edge, and just line those outer edges up as well. And then we will go in here, and either with your zipper foot on or without, and I'm just going to stitch along here. So the way that I get a nice straight line of stitching is I am lining up this edge here, this, let me just see if I've got, no, it's not to hand, let's use the screwdriver. This edge here, this seam edge from the zip to the fabric, the inside of my foot is running along there, and then that gives me a lovely straight line of stitching, the top stitching for the zip. And I'm saying that now, but I think we're getting a nice line of stitching as it happens. So that's it. So we'll just clip that bit. So if we clip our threads as we go, it is better to. I don't always, but you should. So that gives me a nice line of straight stitch along there. Okay, so we have our, let's just take that back just a little bit now so that you can see the whole of this. So we've got the zip at the top, and we've got the rest of the fabric here. Now what we're going to do is lift the bottom of the fabric. Let's just come that down. So here's the opposite end of the fabric, and we're going to lift it and place it right sides together so that it lines up with the opposite edge of the zip tape. So you can see that there. Now I am lining up this edge with my lining, but you can see my lining fabric, wrong side there. I'm lining this up, and this is where I like to definitely pop a clip on or a pin here so that I know that is lined up exactly. So let's put a clip there, and then we'll put a clip at this end as well. I'll just pop that down on here while that's it, so that I know that's lining up. Now I can see it's lining up with my outer fabric. My lining fabric is a little bit wider because it does tend to shift. There is a way to get around that, and that is to stitch the opposite side, and then it doesn't tend to shift, but it has. So we can sort that out quite easily. Now the next thing we do, if we just flip it over and we bring the lining fabric up to meet the zip again. So line up the lining fabric and that zip tape at the top, take the clip off and pop it back on. And similarly at this end, we can take my clip off and line that up. So you can see from the side, I've got two little hanging bags or hanging channels, and that's what we want it to look like. So we're going to now do exactly the same. We've got our zip sandwich, so it's sandwiched between all the layers, and let's just hold that a little bit there. And so I'm going straight back under the needle again. Oops, there we go. And I'm going to make sure that that lining is, there we go. So that's it. So I'm making sure that my lining here and the zip tape are nicely aligned. I'm just putting my finger pins all the way along, or like I'm doing is I'm just pressing down on that seam to hold those layers together. And I can lift that up and see that I can move the zip just slightly over so that it lines right with the top, and then pop that outer fabric with the wadding straight on the top there. Okay, so there we have, it's all sandwiched together. Now what I suggest at this point, because we're going to turn it to the right side, is we are going to undo the zip. There we go, undo the zip, because it just makes it turn more easily. You see how we've opened that up. Then we can turn it to the right side, because we do need to do a little bit of top stitching first. So let's just turn it that way. Okay, so we've got take the zip all the way and turn that through so that it's on the right side. But we do need to top stitch. We've done this other edge, we need to top stitch this edge. So all we need to do here, you can go from whichever end you like. I'm just pushing that into there, but I'm going to go from the open end towards where the zip pull is. So again, I'm going to pull the lining fabric, I'm putting it away from that zip tape and bringing the outer fabric to line up with it. And you can press this here, it's probably the easiest thing to do. Or as I keep doing, as I stitch along, I'm pulling that lining fabric away from the zip so that I don't get any puckering or pleating underneath. So I'm going to pop that under my foot, and I'm going to start stitching again. So if you just, as I say, just go in where you can to pull that lining fabric away, and then stitch a little bit more, and then a little bit more. So just making sure, because what we will do when we get up to this end, we've got this little bit that looks awkward, but it will be absolutely fine. So we are going to carry on stitching. And then when we get here, where are we? Let's just pull that, the other end a little bit, because we've got to sort of tuck that under. And you see how I'm pulling that away. It's easier when you're actually doing it, so that the zip pull is on the top. We've got the lining out of the way and pulled away, and just pull that down, and then just carry on stitching to the end. And that way we've been able to go the whole way along that side of the zip. Oh, that's actually print. Okay, So, hello Carol. Well, that's how it works out, Sue. Perhaps I didn't write that exactly as it is, but I probably didn't take a photograph of that, but this is how it works out. That was just a side view to show you how it looks. So it's no problem there. You will see that it works. I probably said tuck it under the lining fabric underneath. Oh, thank you, Jane. Thank you, Jane. You're worrying me. You're worrying me. Okay, but I know it's right. Okay, so actually, that is where we have. So I'm just pulling the fabric here. So leave it like this. There's no trimming the zip yet. Just pull your fabric on the inside. Okay. So and just pull that away. That's it. Let's just get that to the side as far as we can, and the lining there so it lines up and at both edges. And what we will do is just have that at the moment. Doesn't matter where it is, because depending on what we're doing, might be in the center, it may not. So as in one of the pictures, one picture doesn't show it with clips on, the other one does, and that really doesn't matter at all. But at the moment, I'm just going to put a clip at each end. We will be taking them off before we do anything else, but that is what you need. Either 5 of this or 5 of the next one. But when I show you how to do the next one, hello Carol, when I do the next one that uses 2 pieces instead of just the one, it's going to look the same as this anyway, and that's what you'll find. It will be bigger, but it will look like this. Okay, so there is number 1. Are there any questions there? Can you quilt it before that stage? I haven't done quilting on any of them, Virginia. Let's just see. Do you want to quilt it? It's not a project that can be quilted because we've done the lining as a separate piece. This is not a quilting project. You can quilt them if you do it totally differently. The thing is, you would have to quilt all the layers together. When you then put the zip in, you're going to have raw edges on the inside. As this stands, we've got no raw edges along the zip at all. So that is for another project if everything's going to be quilted. But as you saw, none of my 5 projects have got any quilting done on them at all. So no on this occasion. Okay, so are we all happy with how that was done? I think if you send a few thumbs ups, just so that I know that you're happy with how that works. Did you change stitch length to top stitch? I didn't on this occasion, Susan. They were quite small, but you can do. Can you see? So mine are what have I done it? Just over 2, not quite 2.5, but I've just kept small stitching there. Let me see. I had small stitching on that one. Yeah, if you would like to do longer top stitching, I'm just having a look here. Perhaps that one is slightly longer than that one, but it really doesn't matter. So down to your choice. Fabulous, thumbs up, right, okay. So that is using 1 piece, and it is going to give us a project that is that size, okay, which is about 4 by 3 by 3, 4 by 2, 4 by 3 by 2, something like that. The measurements aren't exact. It's approximately, depending on your seam allowance. It could be, my seam allowances are 1/4 of an inch, or will be when we come to the next part. So it was just the case on this of popping the zip in, and whatever your the width of your foot, then that will tell you how the finished size of your boxy pouch will be. but it's not going to make any difference to what we do next on these projects. So there is number 1, option 1. So shall we move to option 2? Lovely, lovely. I don't know, is anybody sewing along? Because I've sort of gone quite quickly with those. But on Sunday I shall take a little bit longer for sewing along, because it will, I will let you leave time in between so you can watch what I'm doing and do your own thing or follow what I've been doing. So are we all happy? As I say, I don't know if any of you are actually sewing along at the moment. Perhaps not. Okay. So I did think it was quite a good idea to just watch on this occasion, and then you will know. I mean, when you've made 5 of these, then you are going to do it with your eyes closed, because I don't think you'll ever forget. And having done these, you can then try out. No, I'm really excited too, Virginia. I think it's good in the little chat group that there is that's associated with the group. Jolly good, jolly good. You're just watching. That is fine. Lovely. Yeah, with the little chat group, I think it's quite good that you're all talking to each other in there. Are you going to be saying it? Fabulous, Leslie. What a great idea. Okay, so we'll go on to option 2. So option 2, as I say, it is the same as option 1, except we have 2 pieces of outer fabric and 2 pieces of lining fabric. All the same size, 10 by 7. Okay, so that's lovely. And you're just watching, Shirley. Lovely. And then 1 long zip as well. Now, as I said, for option 2, we are using the long edge this time to put our zip onto. So you can see here's the short and there is the long edge. So that's what we're going to use. So similar to before, okay, we will put our outer fabric with the lining and the wadding, the fusible fleece already fused onto the back, and then we will take our zip and place it zipper pull facing down. So there is zipper pull facing down, and we'll just pop that. So I'm leaving the zip. I just grabbed this one. There may be, let's just see, that looks quite long, but I'm sure it's, yeah, that's 10. Your zips will be 10 inches or longer, so any will suffice, as long as it's as long as the edge of your fabric. So you can see I've just clipped that in a couple of places, and then I'm going to take a piece of lining fabric, okay, and I'm going to place that right side down onto the outer fabric. And again, let's line up with the zip tape and also the edge of the outer fabric. So I'm going to take that off and re-clip, and I'll take the other end off. Not that it's going to make any difference, because I'll take it off and just clip that back together as well. So similar in stitch length, I haven't changed that at all, but we're just going to stitch along this edge as well. If you want on this, if you want to reverse at the beginning, absolutely do. I'm just checking that my pieces are all lined up again, and they are. Okay. And we've got a little bit of shift again on this. Now, I was going to say, one of the other ways of the fabric, because of the pressure of the foot, the fabric moves just that little bit. And this is probably, it is because the fabric is cut across the width. Now, when it's across the width, it can give a little bit. So if you're ever having real trouble about the fabric stretching too much, if you cut your piece so that it's lengthwise, so the straight grain, you won't get any, because that is the warp threads, and they are solid. They are straight. That's it. So I cut that, and again I'm going to open it out, and I'm going to push my lining fabric underneath. There it is. I've got my zip there, and again, if you want to iron that so it's nice and straight, pull your lining right down to the bottom edge so it lines up, and also onto these edges here. So, as I say, so I'm just pulling that down. You can see that lines up there. A little bit of excess lining that's stretched there, doesn't matter, we can trim that off. But I've got that lined up at the bottom there. So, straight under, so just for a change, because we mentioned about stitch length, I will increase my top stitching to 3, just because we can, just to see if you prefer that. So, so I do a little bit of stitching, and then under here, let me pull that lining away and just smooth that down. I will turn the work over in a minute so that you can see. So just, I'll put my hand under there, smooth it away, keep that all nicely lined up. And I've got a little bit of tension pulling that part away so that we keep it all away from the zip tape. Okay, so there we are. So actually, so that is a little bit longer stitch. I wouldn't probably go any longer than a 3, but that is quite nice. And being a contrast, I've actually got white thread. Can you believe it? Doesn't look white, does it? And then on the back, that's nice and neat there. We've got no pleated bits going up here, no puckers, but that was because I was pulling that down. Oh dear, blooming internet. Okay, so this time, because we've got a second piece, we are going to put the second piece of fabric onto the opposite side of the zip tape. So let us pick up, here is my other piece, and I'm going to lay that right side down so that it's right sides together here. And I'm making my zip sandwich again, there. So I'm just going to lift that up, line this long edge with the edge here. You would soon know if you'd done it wrongly, because that doesn't work at all, does it? So you're putting the same orientation. We're going to line that up so it lines up this edge and it lines up at the zip tape. We're going to put a clip just there. And then at the opposite end, let's just line that. Might need another one in between. Like there. And another one at this end. So that's kept that all nicely aligned. So I've got that all along the opposite edge of the zip. And then again, making our zip sandwich, here's the zip. So that is the filling. I need my lining fabric to go underneath this time. So the lining fabric is going down, or sorry, is right sides up. So it faces the right side of the lining on the other side. And then I'm just going to align that with the zip, with that edge of the fabric as well. So I've got that all lined up there, and I'm going to take the clip off again and pop it back down. And then in the middle here, let's just turn that way. I'm making sure the lining is aligned here, so I can take off the clip and pop it back on. I won't bother with the other one because I shall lift those off to just check it as we go. So I'm going to go back to this end, take off my clip, and we will start stitching again. So I'm saying I'll reverse just there. Now I'm looking behind here and I can see that's all lined up beautifully. So I'll carry on stitching. I should turn that down a little bit because I did that for top stitching, didn't I? So I'll take that clip off now and that one, just to check again that the lining fabric, there we are, that's all lined up, and put my finger on there and then line up my outer fabric and carry on stitching. I will check just again, but I can see that that's lined up with the lining, and then bring the outer fabric along there as well. So this is where, for the top stitching, it is easier. So there is my outer fabric, which I've opened up there. And then I'm going to pull the lining fabric underneath here. So I've got the outer fabric with lining underneath. And again, this is the one we've just done. Here's our lining fabric and here's our outer fabric. So we'll do exactly the same as we did with the other side. I'm pulling this lining away from the zip, and then we'll bring the, let's just pull that, if I lift that up, just pull that away, and it should line up at the bottom there, the lining fabric with the outer fabric. And that way we know it's all pulled away from that zip tape edge there, or the seam. So I'm going to pop that under here. Take that thread out of the way, and we'll start stitching. I will increase my top stitch length again because I did on the other side. So we'll stitch across here, and I've actually got my hands on both sides, and I'm just pulling away. I'm just checking that the lining fabric is pulled away and lines up at this side here. So we'll carry on stitching across. So there we have that side. So you can see there, I've got my 2 rows of stitching, the slightly longer length. So this was 3 that I'd switched the length to, which makes it a little bit more obvious. Okay. Let's just go back a little bit more so that you can see there. So there is the whole piece. Now I'm going to separate these 2 layers, the lining and the outer. I'm going to put the outer together, and let's just put a clip across these. So let's put that lining and, sorry, the outer on top of the outer, right sides together. I'll put one in the middle just because we can. And then I'm going to pull up so that the lining pieces go together as well. So we've got outer on that side, and we're going to have the lining pieces on this side. So just line these up. That's it. You'll have cut these, or I have cut these together so that they will be exactly the same. And just line that bottom edge. And this is where, because of the technique we're using, we're not thinking about leaving a gap in anything, which is what we usually do, don't we? Always leave a gap in the lining. Not on this occasion, though. So, there we go. So we've got our lining fabric at the bottom of, 2 pieces together, and the outer fabric with the wadding on, right sides together there. And all we're going to do is stitch the whole way across this edge. So let's take that off. I'll go back to my normal stitch length, and we're going to, I'll just reverse there, and I'm going to stitch the whole way across, which, as I say, is quite the usual thing to do. So we're going straight across to the other side, and we'll just reverse and cut the threads there. And then we'll swivel round to the lining, and we're going to do exactly the same there. So we are going to stitch the whole way across. Okay, easy. I think you're with me so far. Hello, Jane. You're using your phone. Yeah, absolutely, Jack. So I've stitched the whole way across there. So now I have 2 pieces. I've still got those 2 channels, except they're either side of the zip. Can you see now? So again, you can open up the zip. I think in the instructions I chopped off my ends of the zips now. You can if you want to, or not, as the case may be. But I'm just going to turn that to the right side, like so. And so you needn't undo the zip at all, or it just depends whether you want to or not. There's a choice, because I'm just going to do it back up again. And then, so that we get, so this time if we're going to centre the zip, you have actually got the seam to line up with. So I'm just pulling the lining fabric in here to the edge of the outer fabric, and I'm looking at my zip and lining it up with that seam just there. And then we know that zip on this occasion is in the centre. As I say, we may not have it in the centre for all of the options. That is how we are able to make all these different projects. So I will flip that to there. There is the lining in there. Just put your thumbs in and pull that apart, and you can see that fits snugly. And then look at the reverse of the zip. You can see the coil there, and line it up with the seam that you can see on the lining. And so you can sort of flatten that out and pop those on. Okay, so there is our second option. Looks exactly the same as this, but smaller. Crumbs, we've done that pretty quickly. It was 45 minutes we've done that in. Okay, so I'm coming back up now because that's as difficult as it gets. So as I said, this was our small one with using one piece. This is the one we've just done now. The difference being on our small one, there is no seam, whereas on the bigger one, using two pieces, you can see there's a seam just there. Well, it's hard to see, but there is a seam going all the way down there. So as you can see, on the instructions, I have cut the tabs off, but when you do yours, leave them on at this point, or as in the instructions, you could clip them off. I think I did it on the second one. You can clip them off, but then stitch over the coil at both ends just to hold them together, so that you don't accidentally pull your zip off. And as I say, with one of them, before I did that, you need to pull your zip pull down and then stitch across, so you've got a little opening. But leave it like this, and we can do the trimming off of the zip afterwards. What wadding? It's fusible fleece. Would it sit better if the seam was pressed open? It is hard. It's hard to press the seam open on when you've got fusible fleece on the back. It's very springy. If it is purely the fabric, so if you wanted to press open the seam of the lining, absolutely do. But you will find that, let's have a look here, that the 1/4 inch seam is hard, because it's hard to press. Oh, you see, my nails are awful, so let's just take that bit off a minute. So I'm just looking at the seam here. It is small, so there is the seam. Okay, now you wouldn't want to press this on this side because your iron would be going onto the fusible fleece. So you would need to press from this side, which means how do you keep that all pressed unless you put pins in it? And then you'll more than likely get where the pins are, you'll get little indentations. So, you know, for the width of the seam, I wouldn't bother. But if you're more than welcome to absolutely do that. Okay, so it's easier actually. I can see the seam. I'm holding it towards me, and I can see the seam lining up with the zip. Okay, so just move that along there, and you can see there that all of those just line up. Well, it's easy to see. Perhaps I've just got that lid. There we are. But that all lines up, both top and bottom. Okay, it'll probably take you longer than 45 minutes. Never mind. Never mind. You have got all day tomorrow, if you're not at work, all day Saturday and Sunday morning. Enough time to have your lunch, and then we will crack on with making all the different shapes so that I just think it's quite incredible that from this one starter pack that we can make lots of different ones. So, you know, once you have made 5 of these, honestly, you will know how to do it forever. And once you've made 5, you could work out and use any width of fabric. So if you wanted to take a piece of fabric which was, say, 12 inches by 10, see how that works. If you want to take a piece of fabric that was 8 by 15 even, see what shape that comes out to as well. Hi Jill. Yes, you can do it at your own pace. But this is the starter for lots of projects. And as I say, if you're at a loose end, when you're making these yourself and have done 5 of them, you'll just be able to go and sit at the machine and just do it, right? And you could get them ready to this stage for any time that you need a quick present, and then you could pick one up and think, right, that's what I'm going to do. And I guarantee the next little bit, well, it won't take you as long as perhaps it's taken to do this. No more zips to put in, we've done that. There might be some tabs on some, and we'll do things a little bit different, and we're going to get all those different shapes. So, oh yes, of course, Jill, yeah. Be very careful, take it slowly. Oh, the stitches are itching now. Oh, but you can see, that's good. Okay, okay. Are you all excited that you want to get cracking right now? But you can understand why I wanted to do it in 2 parts, because if you imagine we did project one. So let's say we're doing the little one. So project 1, we're going to start and get this far and then carry on and produce this, obviously in a different colour. And then when we do project 2, we're going to have to make all of this again, which is not tedious, but it's time consuming. Elaine's just made the larger size sewing with you. It was nice to sew due to your excellent... Fantastic! Oh, well done, Elaine. There you go. So you've done it. I haven't left a lot of time in between everything. And you've done it. Fantastic. Fantastic. But I will give you when we're doing the next, Sunday at 2, I will give you a little bit longer than I've done today as well, because we have got 5 to make. So, you know, as I was saying with this, we'd have to start from scratch, get the zip in, get it to this stage, which might be, say, 10 minutes, but that's 10 minutes of that one. Then we go on to number 3, and we'll take another 10 minutes to do another one. So with this, okay, Nettie, no problem. Oh, John said no sewing till it's healed. That's best advice, really, Jill. But I don't know if you're like me, because you don't want to set yourself backwards, do you? Okay. Lovely. Make a start now, Patricia. What a great idea. Okay. I'm going to leave you now then. As I say, for those of you who haven't been able to join me live now, have a look right from the beginning, and you'll be able to make both of these, this one and this one, or just decide whether you want the bigger projects or the smaller ones. But as long as you've got, or a mixture of both, but as long as you've got 5 of these ready for Tuesday, keep saying Tuesday, Sunday at 2 o'clock. So enjoy the rest of your evening. You do make 5 for Sunday, yeah. You make 5 of one or the other. You don't have to do 5 of both. If you want all big ones, get 5 of your ones together like this. Or if you want to make 2 small and 3 big, you could do that as well. So, hello Pollyann. Okay, you're happy, yes. Okay, so take care of yourselves, and I will see you. I'll see you tomorrow evening on the So Totally Trisha page, but I'll see you for the rest of this on Sunday at 2. So, bye for now.